Hey yo, hey man, say man, this your boy, Cosmic Light Being Master Teacher, DeMarco. My backup page, you know what I'm saying? The backup page, you feel me? So I hurt my ankle playing tennis the other day, you feel me? So I'ma need a sub. You feel me? I'ma need a sub. Hit that subscribe button for your boy. Also, smash that motherfucking like button for your boy. Help us get through this motherfucking YouTube algorithm and this big tech censorship is at an all-time high. Freedom of speech is no longer free. It's been not free. My bad, I had to dump them ass. It's been no longer free. And up in this video basically is like a backup to my video that got me blocked on my other channel. I'm just ain't gonna put no pictures in. You feel me? Also, I'm not gonna show the video, but at this very moment, I'm gonna come back and do another video and show the videos I'm showing. To back up why they say the battle is for the soul of the nation. The battle for the soul of the world. Every soul in the world, they want it. They telling you that. They telling you that. So be vigilant on what you hearing. You know what I'm saying? Be aware of what you finna hear. And peace out what you need to peace out. But listen. You feel me? I ain't gonna say shit so they won't flag the motherfucker. But I'm just gonna have them talking, but you already know what the fuck going on. Like I said in previous video, all this shit is about the golden race. The golden race, niggas, African Americans, so-called black people. Let me go. But listen, pay attention. Listen.
Many decades that poverty rates are more than twice as high in the African American community. And this, of course, goes hand in hand with healthcare access barriers, resulting in the very well documented higher diabetes, hypertension, and cancer rates in African Americans compared to white Americans. So it was certainly predictable that we would see the frequency of COVID 19 is disproportionately higher in African Americans, and death rates from COVID 19 are disproportionately higher in African Americans. Adding the sociodemographics is the fact that African Americans have more exposures. Blacks are highly represented among hospital workers, delivery service industry, in public transportation. African Americans are more likely to live in housing environments that cannot support the social distancing policies. There's considerable and mounting evidence that shows that there are both genetic and, of course, biological differences when we think about various diseases when we compare blacks to whites in the U.S. Different types of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and even genetic diseases like sickle cell anemia. The disparities are real and the differences are real. Our history, our genetic makeup, and the environment. All of those things sort of play a complex role in the reasons why we see these differences. It sounds to me that it's multifactorial, as you both might say. It's a one-two punch. There may be a genetic predisposition towards some of these diseases, and they are exacerbated or fueled by environmental factors. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. So you have a group of people that are at higher risk of infection, but they also have an underlying biology that might put them at higher risk for a more advanced and aggressive disease course. And in this type of setting where there still isn't truly effective testing, and there definitely isn't any type of therapeutic or treatment, we're in big trouble. Many of the chronic diseases, right, that affect African Americans impact our immune and inflammatory systems. So if you have higher rates of these diseases in a population or community, the consequence of that is that those people will also have issues related to their immune system and their inflammatory systems.
So are you saying basically that the immune systems generally of Black and brown people are different than the immune systems of other people for genetic reasons?
Certain DNA patterns are linked to African ancestry, other patterns are linked to European ancestry. These genetic patterns of DNA are also linked to other biologic mechanisms, such as immune response to different diseases. And we need to understand these in order to more comprehensively understand cancer pathogenesis. And it's likely also going to be important in understanding the best treatments for COVID. When we think about some of these diseases like cancer and heart disease, diabetes, obesity, we know that all of these things tend to influence an inflammatory response. So our immune system and our inflammatory system goes out of whack. And it's really interesting that one of the key features of COVID-19 aggressiveness is what we call a cytokine storm, where there's this dramatic inflammatory response that leads
where
to
the immune system goes into
overdrive. And the bad thing is that it leads to tissue damage. It leads to all sorts of issues with our physiology, circulation. All of these things become affected and really makes our bodies more susceptible. Centuries of natural selection have made us who we are. But what we have to understand is that selection in one environment is beneficial. In a completely different environment, that same trait can now be detrimental. One example, the Blacks who were put on the ships for the transatlantic slave trade that actually survived the trip, they had to retain water. And the physiology that is associated with that is high blood pressure. That natural selection that occurred has shaped African Americans in such a way that we have higher rates of hypertension. In that setting, it was beneficial. However, now being in the setting of being an American, that same trait now is detrimental. And of course, one of the things we know is that one of the primary conduits for the COVID-19 virus to get into cells is the ACE2 or the ACE2 receptor, which is also involved in hypertension. And we know African Americans have high rates of hypertension. And so the question can become, does that actually provide a better way, right, or in a more efficient way for the virus to actually affect these people?
Dr. Newman, can you talk about access to care?
I ain't mean to do that. Hold on. I got some more videos for us to listen to, man. I got some more videos for us to listen to. Hold on. The celebs got an agenda. Hold on, let me see what my light is, y'all. The celebrities gotta have an agenda too. The celebrities in on it. That's all I'm gonna say.
By speaking out, there is so much we can learn. This morning, I got some test results back for coronavirus.
This Idris Elba.
There is so much we can learn. This morning, I got some test results back for coronavirus, and it came back positive. Yeah, and it sucks. Idris Elba broke the news today. He does not have symptoms, but he still got tested. because I realized I was exposed to someone who had also tested positive.
His wife, Sabrina, is in isolation with him.
This is serious, you know. Now's the time to really think about social distancing.
There is good news for Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. After 5 days in a hospital in Australia, they have been released and are now in isolation at a rented home. Tom's latest post is a photo of a stuffed kangaroo and a Vegemite sandwich with the caption, "Thanks to the helpers. Let's take care of ourselves and each other." Hollywood is virtually shut down as the stars self-isolate.
I still can't hold a breath, can't take a deep breath without coughing, it hurts.
Bachelorette star Ali Fedotowsky is staying home with her family as she awaits test results.
Please, please, please take this seriously. And of course, wash your hands.
Former Bond girl Olga Kurylenko just revealed she has tested positive. The Quantum of Solace actress is self-isolating herself at her home. Heidi Klum, who was tested after she developed symptoms,
started all with like a chill, feeling feverish.
Posted video kissing her husband Tom Cowlitz through glass. Her show, America's Got Talent, has stopped taping. Hillary Duff refused to mince words in her Instagram post.
To all you young millennials that keep going out and partying, go home. Stop killing old people, please.
Lady Gaga urged her little monsters to stay at home too, posting, "I wish I could see my parents and grandmas right now, but it's much safer to not." Utah Jazz star Donovan Mitchell is also in isolation after he tested positive in the virus scare that postponed the NBA season. He Skyped into GMA's Robin Roberts this morning. Robin, of course, was at work this morning, while over at Today, Al Roker and Craig Melvin were given the day off after a staffer tested positive. All right, Dr. Dorian, is it helpful?
Wait, there's more. There's more. There's more, goddamn. There we just gonna listen. We have the listen. Hey, we have the motherfucking listening part. Hey, we have the motherfucking listening party right now. You mean? Just listen.
Those vaccine appointments for thousands, closing some vaccination sites in at least 7 states on the East Coast. Eva Pilgrim joins us from a mass vaccination site at Fenway Park, opening this morning, with more on the race to vaccinate and the new mask mandate from the White House. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, Robin. Fenway is actually opening an hour earlier this morning at 8 to try to get these vaccinations in before this winter storm. They're telling the people with afternoon appointments to come in the morning if they can so they can avoid that weather. This, as there's a new federal order that says masks are no longer optional in some places.
Mask mandate. Starting today, masks will now be a requirement on public transportation, from airplanes to taxis and ride shares. A new Biden administration order taking effect tonight. This as the urgent race to vaccinate continues. Thousands lined up at mass vaccination sites this weekend. In Dallas, cars stretched for miles. Some people turned away due to high demand.
This is not a vaccine.
Anti-vax protesters temporarily shutting down a vaccine site at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. The mostly maskless group blocking the entrance, slowing down vaccinations. And now, all eyes on a third vaccine. The single-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine is 85% effective at preventing severe cases and 100% when it comes to preventing hospitalization or death. The vaccine could be available by the end of this month, and the company is aiming for 100 million doses by June. Meanwhile, promising data coming out of nursing homes. According to the CDC, 3.5 million vaccines have been given to staff and residents in long-term care facilities.
I just feel relieved. I just feel as though we're turning a corner.
According to the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, COVID cases in nursing homes have steadily dropped in the past month, a sign the vaccines are making a positive impact.
Listening party. They have the motherfucking listening party. Hold on, let me go to Bill Gates. Talking about the conspiracy.
The presence of social media plus the pandemic is a combination that's never been tried before. And trying to profit from it, and on and on. And so, I'm very surprised by that. I hope it goes away. I hope it doesn't hold back, mask wearing or seeking out vaccines. The percentage that's really misled by these conspiracy theories, it's unclear to me.
And then I'm gonna put this video out too, goddamn. I want y'all to see the body language on this nigga, man. I want y'all to see the body language.
There's millions of messages out there, where my name or Dr. Fauci's name is used, but do people really believe that stuff? We're going to have to get educated about this over the next year and understand, how does it change people's behavior? How should we have minimized this, either working with social media companies or explaining what we were up to in a better way? From the foundation's point of view, the fact that he took that rescission of the global vaccine money, which is super, super important. The fact he rejoined the WHO, the fact that he's appointed smart people, the fact that Dr. Fauci will not be suppressed. They'll take full advantage of Francis Collins and Dr. Fauci, who are wonderful people. In terms of the epidemic, it sometimes felt like they were the only sane people in the U.S. government. So this phase, even though, it's a huge challenge, now we have people who are allowed to, share the truth, and we can draw on the depth of CDC capabilities. Every politician is under pressure to go bid for their country, to get, further up in line, because the value of these vaccines, even in the case, when it's not the Gavi price, the value far exceeds the price in terms of countries getting back to normal. And the rich world countries will largely be out of it. If we can get our vaccination levels up to 70 to 80%, which with good leadership, good communication, these vaccines appear to have very few side effects. And so the benefit to society, everyone or a high percentage of people participating, should be very clear, although, all the crazy conspiracy theories may cut into that. But yes, I'm optimistic that the rich world this year will return largely to normal. There may be some mask wearing, and big public events may not be completely wide open, but particularly if we help the developing countries not be a source of reinfection.
Damn, Bill Gates. The nigga that got the most farmland.
Exclusive interview with Bill Gates, the entrepreneur, Microsoft co-founder, software developer, and philanthropist. Thanks for being here.
Great to talk to you.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's annual letter has now just come out. You both write about how this pandemic, in your view, will be as defining as World War II. What are the key steps to take right now?
Well, we have to do two things at once. We have to bring this epidemic to an end, primarily by getting the vaccine out in large numbers to the entire world. And we have to make sure that we're ready, because there will be another pandemic. And there's so many lessons about how we weren't prepared, how we should have handled things differently. And, when that's clearly in our mind.
Oh, my. Oh, my lions, tigers, and bears. Goddamn. Gosh, goddamn it. I'm flabbergasted. I'm appalled. Dr. Fauci says it's common sense to wear 2 masks instead of 1.
So if you have a physical covering with 1 layer, you put another layer on, it just makes common sense that it likely would be more effective. And that's the reason why you see people either double masking or doing a version of an N95.
This morning, another shot of hope for a nation desperate for an end to the pandemic. Johnson & Johnson saying their vaccine, which requires only 1 shot, is 72% effective at preventing COVID in the U.S. and 85% effective against severe symptoms. That's less than Pfizer and Moderna's, but Johnson & Johnson says no one who received their vaccine went to the hospital or died. Dr. Fauci reacting with NBC News' Lester Holt.
This is actually good news. It's value added to the whole effort of getting more.
Like I said, it's a listening part.
Current vaccine supply and manufacturing plans, I can announce that we will increase overall weekly vaccination distribution to states, tribes, and territories from 8.6 million doses to a minimum of 10 million doses. Starting next week, that's an increase of 1.4 million doses per week. And you all know, if I may note parenthetically, you all know that vaccines are distributed to states based on population. And so the smaller the state, the less vaccine, the bigger the state, the more they get. And so this can allow millions of more Americans to get vaccinated sooner than previously anticipated. We got a long way to go, though. The second thing, we're increasing the transparency with states, cities, and tribes and local partners when it comes to the vaccine supply. This is something we've heard over and over again from both Democrats and Republicans, state and local leaders, that they need a plan in order to they need to know what they got to plan on. They need to know what the order is going to be. Jeff had a meeting with the governors on Zoom and others, and I think we're getting this coordinated in a way that there's increased cooperation and confidence. But until now, we've had to guess how much vaccine to expect for the next week, and that's what the governors have to do. How much am I getting next week? This is unacceptable. The lives are at stake here. From this week forward, God willing, we'll ensure that states, tribes, and territories will now always have a reliable 3-week forecast with the supply they're going to get. So they'll know 3 weeks ahead of time what's going to be there in the 3rd week. This is going to help make sure governors, mayors, and local leaders have greater certainty around supply so they can carry out their plans to vaccinate as many people as possible. So we will both increase the supply in the short term by more than 15% and give our states and local partners more certainty about when the deliveries will arrive. These 2 steps are going to help increase our prospects of hitting or exceeding, God willing, the ambitious goal of 100 million shots in 100 days. But I also want to be clear, 100 million shots in 100 days is not the end point. It's just the start. We're not stopping there. The end goal is to beat COVID-19. And the way we do that is to get more people vaccinated, which means we have to be ready after we hit the ground, after we hit the goal of 100 million shots in 100 days. Now that means fewer than 100 million people getting totally vaccinated. It means 100 shots. And it means somewhere between 60, maybe less, maybe more million people will have because it requires 2 shots in many cases, not always. So today I'm directing COVID-19 response coordinator Jeff Zients here to work with the Department of Health and Human Services to increase our total supply of vaccine for the American people. And we believe that we'll soon be able to confirm the purchase of an additional 100 billion doses for each of the 2 FDA-authorized vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna. That's 100 million more doses of Pfizer and 100 million more doses of Moderna. 200 million more doses than the federal government had previously secured. Not in hand yet, but ordered. We expect these additional 200 million doses to be delivered this summer. And some of it will begin to come in early summer, but by the midsummer that this vaccine will be there. And the order, and that increases the total vaccine order in the United States by 50%, from 400 million ordered to 600 million. This is enough vaccine to fully vaccinate 300 Americans by end of the summer, the beginning of the fall. But we want to make it, look, I want to repeat, it'll be enough to fully vaccinate 300 Americans to beat this pandemic, 300 million Americans.
That's
Hey,
enough.
thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can